for you today, but I kind of want to share some ideas or thoughts that I'm kind of in the process of working through, I suppose. And maybe this will be of value to you, maybe it won't, but I just wanted to share this because it felt, yeah, you're good. I feel as though this could be somewhat useful because I'm trying to think of this process. My buddy and I, we were talking about this earlier today, just on like a little walk around, because like he was asking me if I had any debt, and I was like, no, I don't have any debt or anything along those lines. Was lucky enough to have parents that paid for my college, so I didn't have to worry about like accumulating debt or things like that. And as I was talking about in the video recently that I posted around like sales and selling, and just how it's hands down, in my personal opinion, the best career that any person can take, especially if you're good at communicating and you have interpersonal communication skills and things along those lines. I believe sales is the best route to go. The thing with this, and maybe it's not even necessarily a thing, but what him and I were talking about was there's this ability to instantly get yourself out of debt, whatever debt you may be in, through sales. And I'm brainstorming certain ideas in my mind on how I can kind of increase or grow the certain territory, the accounts that I manage currently, because basically I have all new business. So it's just like me growing the account to the size or whatever it may be that it needs to be grown to. And I just kind of had a slight little thought, because like if I close $300,000 in a quarter, whatever it is, to me that's a worthwhile goal or something along those lines. And I'm like, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. And I've already had 100 for this last month, so I'm like, now if I can do another 100 for these next 2 months, then I'm in good shape. And I'm thinking of like, well, what is the process and what does that look like in order for me to be able to have that happen? And the reason why 300,000 is kind of what I'm set at is because that's right around that $45,000 mark for commission at that point in time. And you could be like, that's a fuck ton of money, but it's also like, that's for 3 months worth of selling. So it comes out just shy of like $11,000 or so, or just over 11,000. Actually more than 11,000 if it's 45. The math on that, let's just round it up to an even 50 like we were talking about earlier. You have what, 15, around 20, 18-ish or so, okay, which is a solid amount to have in closures, which that's also still not accurate. We'd figure that out. Besides the point right now. But like if I'm able to, I'm just trying to figure out and understand different ways to be able to find business or accounts that have shown growth or have experienced growth or have used like the tool in some way, shape, or form at one point in time. Because from my understanding and from what I do myself personally, the more you can go back to past customers or past people that have shown interest or have paid for the tool, and maybe they just forgot to renew, or like it's just been some time since somebody has contacted them or whatever it may be. To me, that's one of the fastest ways to be able to grow your book of business again, is because it's just like, let me follow back up with these people that haven't used the tool in some time, see if they're interested in like re-engaging, because like clearly they already found the value in the tool or in the software or the product or whatever it is that you may be selling. Because at that point in time, there's a lot more, it's not necessarily freedom, but there's just a lot more opportunity, because you already know that this person has placed money on the tool in the first place, which is hands down a win for you right there. So if you can re-engage those people in some way, shape, or form, then you're set. And what I'm trying to think through and what I'm working through right now currently is like, well, what does that process, like, what is the email that if I was in their shoes, what would I want to receive? What words, what phrases, what conversation, what asks, what is the, like, what is their end goal? What is the thing that they themselves want to see? Because if I can figure that thing out, then I'm basically in the clear at that point in time. I'm just trying to understand what is that? What is the ask? Because I can have a sequence, I can create these different like tasks or like schedules or whatever it may be. I don't like how these people are driving right now. Homeboy was just like getting close, dude. But yeah, it's just understanding the quickest way to be able to accelerate that process seems to be like the move or the play, at least from what I'm starting to kind of understand and grasp. So it's like, what is it that I can do, that I could assist with, that I could provide to XYZ person or partner or whatever it may be, because whatever that thing is, that's going to be the key to all of this happening right now, which to me, that seems like the most essential process of being able to get new business on. Is like, if I'm going to be reaching out to somebody that hasn't heard of us from some time, it's like, what would that email need to be? Or maybe it's just going to have to be a phone call. I understand that this might be a little bit more of a heavier lift for me to do, but it's also like, once I saw where like I was kind of like, I was in maybe second gear or so recently with how I was doing the process beforehand. With this last month when like I met the quota and the goals that I had achieved, like that was me just kind of like not showing too much, because it's like I don't want to show too much, but it's also like if my quota is going to go up, then might as well make the most of it while I have it at where it's at. But it's also like that could be a bargaining chip that I could always use as well too. And this is something that you yourself could always do if you are looking to like do sales, or you're wanting to get a promotion in work or something along those lines. It's like, if you're more focused on like, I don't need to have this big base, but like keep my commission where it's at, because I'd rather have a higher commission rate, because that's just more of a way of me being able to like be driven, and that's what I get. The more I put in, the more I get out type of thing. Which it does take a little bit more energy, and it's things that I wasn't necessarily wanting to do, because I was like, I need to be my own boss, I need to do my own things. But so it's like, dude, I'm fucking damn good at selling. So I'm like, if I'm good at selling, why not just keep selling, bro? Like, just keep selling and do that job in the best way that you can. So the thing that I'm working through right now and trying to process is what are going to be these email sequences? What are going to be the ask the questions? Because how the thing that I sell works is like, we don't have an existing like user base. Like, we have one person that may purchase the tool but then share it with like the rest of the team or something along those lines. So it's like, I can at least purchase and get in contact with those people, which I feel like would be a solid play. I don't know, dude. That's something that I'm needing to kind of think, and maybe I'm gonna have to meditate on it or sit on it or think about it for a moment, because it's been something that's kind of been in the back of my mind. I also want to try and automate this process as best as I possibly could, because a lot of the leads that I was having coming in, or that I had been like working with or on, were all like, they've all been like just new people that have been like figuring out the tool or whatever it may be. So like with this, I'm like, maybe I can find a different approach to be able to grow the account in some way, shape, or form. And this is the part that I love about sales, is you're solving problems, and like the more you put in, the more you get out, and like you always get instant feedback, because it's like, if people aren't buying from you, then clearly that's something that you need to adjust and you need to change on your side. And a lot of people are going to blame like the prospects and like everybody else, and it's like, yes, there are things like that that will happen. Like, that's a guarantee when you're in sales. Well, on the other side of that coin, it's like, what are your inputs that, like, what are the inputs that you're putting in? Because whatever the inputs you're putting in will help increase the output. There's always going to be not an equal exchange. Well, there is always an equal exchange, because like if you think about karmic laws and things like that, the scales always have to be balanced, even if sometimes it does take longer for one scale to balance out itself than the other. But like the scales will always balance itself out. So like, if you can have a big amount of outreach, but then you might not necessarily get every single like person to respond, but then the people that do respond, that's what you're aiming for. And this is where what one of my friends at work or at the gym was telling me. He was just like, being a salesperson is kind of like Johnny Appleseed, which if you've ever heard the story of Johnny Appleseed in the book and things like that, he just plants like apple trees, I believe. And he was kind of saying like, sales is kind of like being like Johnny Appleseed, where you have this whole, like, you're just throwing out seeds. You're just throwing out seeds everywhere, and you throw out enough seeds, eventually some of those seeds are going to grow. They're going to turn into little saplings, and then those little saplings are then going to turn into a forest or a grove or whatever it's called. And then all of a sudden those trees can also start to bear fruit. And then once they bear fruit, then it's like, now you can go back to that tree each season and be like, hey, I'm just curious, like, do you want to increase, or do you, like, you can just go back and like have those conversations again. Which I see how that's a solid play as well at that point in time. I'm also just kind of staying and doing what I'm doing. Like, if I can just build up the initial conversation, like we can build in those like more long-term relationships as we go with this whole journey and process that we're on right now. So yeah, just gonna come down to a sequence, dude. Like a certain sequence will help out a lot. Getting them on at least just get their interest, and then have a call, show them maybe some new features, ask them some different questions about like why they wanted to join, what they're thinking, how things have been without the tool or whatever it may be. Also ask if there's different departments, other people that can utilize the tool. I think the trip out to Berlin, dude, that we took for like the company really kind of opened my eyes up and just kind of let me see things in a different way, which was really, really super helpful. So I really did enjoy that aspect of things. We still have the fun stuff. There's just a girl in this truck in front of me that was waving to me. But yeah, we'll figure it out, because the other thing I guess that I was thinking about was like, what if 300K is too low for a quarter? What if I aim for like 400, $500,000? Like, I just had 300K for the quarter this go around, because I'm like, that's 100K a month in upsell, and that's like 400 licenses or so, or whatever it may be. So like, maybe that's the, like, just do that a couple more times or whatever it is. I don't know. I know it takes a lot more energy to do, but like, dude, getting that paycheck in the account after having $0 in the account, and then just seeing my savings like after just one check of just like, oh, fuck, alright, I'll take that. To me, that's just like, I see why I put the energy in at that point in time, and some people would be like, you should put your energy elsewhere, but I enjoy putting my energy where I put it. And even with like being an empath and being able to pick up on like certain people's cues and like all this other like metaphysical stuff as well too, that's a skill that can be developed and used in sales. I feel like it's something that every person should know how to kind of incorporate into their overall life. Just a really good way to know like when to pivot and how to pivot, at what times to pivot, from my personal experience. So I might just need to clean some stuff up for the most part, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, if you ever want to grow your income or careers, you can always assist with that. The money's out there, dude. It's out there in more ways than you know. And dude, just having the deposit hit the bank and be like, yep, that's the check right there, and then just move all the money around into different accounts, and just do that a couple more times, and basically back to where I was in a matter of months, to taking off basically 2 years, which to me, that's just, it's insane. It's incredible as well too at the exact same time. It's when I was at my youth, and maybe this is not conversation, but it's something that I feel like can be shared. Early 20s, just like, how am I gonna make these bills? Like, I'm budgeting in every small little way, but I'm learning, I'm reading these books, listening to these podcasts, and then all of a sudden it's just like, something just clicks, dude. Something just clicks. So like, I'm grateful for all those other people that had helped me get to where I got. Though, I don't know what it was about the Berlin trip. I don't know if it was because like just talking with, oh well, that's a good one. Yeah, oh well. If it works out, it works out. If not, oh well. Like, oh well. So things will work itself out as they always do. Today's video is a little bit shorter, I suppose. I could keep going. I feel like there's a story that, yeah, it's just in regards to like having an account or having something that you want to work towards starting out. The knowledge and the information compounds upon itself, and just being able to like, you know, have a little bit of a base, and then just build from there. That's the way I feel like it should be. So just thinking outside of the box as well too. And like, if you were in the other person's shoes, what would get you to click on this email, or what would get you to read this email, or what would get you to respond to this email? Like, what is the ask? Like, I personally never like emails where it's like, oh, I was looking at your LinkedIn and we had XYZ thing. Like, to me, that's just, I don't like that. I personally do not enjoy somebody being like, oh, we see that you've had this experience at XYZ place. It's like, yeah, okay. To me, I don't give two shits about that, so I just assume that, like, other people don't either. Like, if they want to talk about it, cool. If not, like, cool. I see more of what I do as, like, you came here for a problem. I have a solution. Here's the solution to your problem. Like, having people, but that's just because I'm slightly different from other people. Everybody's like different as well too, where it's like, they really want to have that recognition. Maybe people do respond to those emails, but I've just never been a person that does like, we recognize your work at XYZ company. We're so proud of you having this opportunity, or like, congratulations on this thing. It's like, having it come from somebody that doesn't know me is a little strange. I get it and I understand it, but it's also like, that's just a me thing. If somebody else is like posting on the page all the time or whatever it is, then yeah, maybe acknowledge that. But also at the same time, like, have a conversation with the person. You know? Cool. I'm on my way to the gym. I'm gonna go lift. If you guys have questions or anything like that, any today, and leave a comment or something like that. But otherwise, appreciate you giving me your time and your attention today. Really do appreciate it.